This is a nice small dresser clock that belonged to my grandfather, made by the Lux Clock Company. It's made out of celluloid, which is a plant-based material mixed with resin. When new, it was advertised as French ivory and has a date of 1926 scribed on the bottom of it by my grandfather. First thing is to remove it from the case. It's held in by two fasteners. That slides out nice and easy. The inner dust case has been gold gilded. Unbelievable the quality Lux put into these inexpensive clocks. The brass on the inner case has stress cracked all around on the surface. Brass will do this if under stress from time to time. I see the celluloid bezel has shrunk a little. It's fairly snug, so need to be careful removing it. Just little by little, and then slide it sideways. There's an inner bezel that is friction fit, holding the glass. Then a decorative trim piece. And the movement comes out nice and easy. I'm seeing some rust. That indicates it was in a moist condition at one time or another. The mainspring is wound tight. The balance wheel doesn't have enough power on it to swing back and forth. Remove the minute hand using a puller. The dial is held on with 3 tabs that are bent. I never straighten these tabs completely because it shortens their life, and they'll break sooner or later. The dial has some surface rust that has stained the paper dial. A lot of rust and dirt falling from this movement. No wonder it stopped working. I'll remove these 2 mounting fasteners. Even these have a gold gilt finish on them. Nice. I tied the mainspring off and now need to release it slightly to take the pressure off the wire tie. It's missing the winding key, so it's time to go through my old keys and see if I can match the threads. It's not going to be an original Lux key, but it'll get us by until one shows up. These are left-handed threads. Nice, found one that'll work. The clicks on these are incorporated into the main wheel as a disc with 4 locking teeth. I'll remove the balance wheel so it doesn't get damaged. Loosen the cone bearing and the balance wheel will fall free. And pull the hairspring pin and it's ready to remove. Outside of being dirty, it looks good. Now to put 4 shims to hold the click mechanism from engaging. I'm using some Mylar shim stock, about 20 thousandths thick. They'll make it so I can release the mainspring. Don't want to take it apart with power on the train. I'll use a knob washer to remove the hand setting knob. Looks like it needs some shims on the rear plate to keep it from bending the plate. And a couple of shims around the knob. Could use any type of pry tool that will put an upward pressure on the knob. I've seen people pull these off with all sorts of tools, and sometimes they end up bending the center wheel shaft and even breaking it at times. There's no substitute for using the correct process for these things. Now the back plate fasteners. Nice. Parts all look in excellent shape. Just dirty and dried oil everywhere. I have a feeling this is going to clean up very nicely. Now that it's cleaned, it's time to peg the holes out to get any residue out of them. The mainspring needs to be on this side of the stop on the plate. Now the center wheel. I'm going to use an elastic band on this movement to assemble the wheels. The elastic band gives just enough pressure on the 2 plates needed for the wheels to be held in place. It's a tool I often use that frees up my left hand from the need to put pressure on the plates. As you can see, a little pressure to separate the rear plate, and when released, it snugs right back into place. The third wheel. Well, that was fast, and they spin just great. The fourth wheel. Nice. Escape wheel. It falls right into place very nicely. Palette fork. I like using this elastic band system. It's gentle and fast. Now the 3 plate fasteners. They're gold gilt as well. Now to wind the mainspring and get the wire tie off. Checking the pallet fork, it snaps back and forth and locks in the escape wheel teeth real strongly. This is a good sign it's going to be a strong running movement. Now to oil the movement. I put oil in to just fill any air gap that I see between the pivot and the pivot hole. One small drop of oil on the pallet fork pins, where they contact the escape wheel. And now the balance wheel. Tighten the cone bearing so the balance staff has just a small amount of play. The hairspring. Nice, it's taking off running already. I'll use this putty to stop the train wheels. It'll take power off the train so I can set the beat. Good. Now that all the power's off the balance wheel, I'll put the hairspring wedge in and get it in beat. Just need to adjust the hairspring a little so that it vibrates equally between the regulator arm slot. Nice! It's really running strong. Now a drop of oil on each balance staff cone pivot. Boy, the case is real dirty. Since it's made of celluloid, and celluloid is sensitive to solvents, oils, and soaps, I'm going to clean it with a soft tissue and just plain water. I'd rather be safe than sorry. I've seen celluloid items destroyed using harsh cleaners, so I'm real conservative when it comes to cleaning these. Now the poem on the bottom is tough to see, so I'm going to fill the low spots with India ink. This will make it easier to read and show people. My grandfather signed it with his signature and gave it to his girlfriend in 1926. After my grandfather passed away, she gave the clock to my dad, and he in turn gave it to me. So it's now a family heirloom. Plain water cleaned it up nice. There's a couple yellow stains on it that penetrated the surface of the celluloid. I'm going to leave well enough alone. For almost 100 years old, it'll have to do. It's been running non-stop for a week now, so time to put it back in the case. Nice running little clock movement. The hour hand is riveted directly on the hour wheel, and there's a metal ring riveted on top of the paper dial. I'm not going to replace the dial because I don't want to disturb these two items. The two movement fasteners, the dial, the minute hand, the inner dust cover, and the bezel is friction fit. Now the celluloid decorative bezel. It fits real snug. Now to get the movement mounted in the case. Just two fasteners holding it in. Looks real good. A 1926 Lux celluloid clock.